Should be live. There we go. Look at that. All right. I haven't really gone much like live on YouTube in my whole time here. But it's okay. So there's always a time to do it. Apparently now is that time. So today we're talking about something pretty obvious by the title and thumbnail of this video, which is the bankruptcy that Lordstown Motors practically admitted. And I'm not making this up. This literal SEC filing, this one paragraph, if you're invested in the company and you truly understand the implications as to exactly what they just admitted, you will likely believe that the company is going bankrupt just like I do. They basically just admitted it in their own words, and I'm not making this up. Let me give you a brief context before I move on to the actual content of that conversation, that one paragraph, you would call it. First off, the stock is up a whopping 33% in the past 5 days, and today it didn't seem very rattled, even when Lordstown Motors posted these two SEC filings today, March 21st of 2022. The stock is only down 1.4% today, but I believe it's going to take a massive hit once the news or media actually start covering this one paragraph. Now let's go in depth into exactly what's going on, but first a tiny bit more context. The company ended 2021 with a total cash balance of $244 million. What does that mean? Well, it means that the company totally, with a cash burn admitted to $100 million, they're burning $100 million of cash per quarter. They have a total of $244 million in cash, plus maybe 100, maybe at most $150 million more additionally from Foxconn for the asset purchase agreement. Now, it sounds like bullcrap, but let me walk you through this SEC filing explaining exactly what's going on. Here's this. They have concluded that with this asset purchase agreement, right, the APA, they say this. There we go. If the APA is terminated or if the transaction does not close prior to the later April 30th of 2022 and 10 days after the transaction is cleared by CFIUS, we are obligated to repay the down payments to Foxconn plus accrued interest. Furthermore, among other conditions, we are required to maintain a minimum cash balance of $30 million. That means no debt, ladies and gents. Oh, sorry, was I not actually showing the SEC filing? Damn. Well, furthermore, among other conditions, we are required to maintain a minimum cash balance of $30 million. We have granted Foxconn a first priority security interest in substantially all of our assets to secure the repayment and other obligations under the APA, the Asset Purchase Agreement. Should we default on our obligations or the APA does not close, keep in mind, it has to close no later than April 30th of 2022. If Foxconn pushes it back simply and doesn't get back to them, this will result in the asset purchase agreement falling through. So should we default on our obligations or the APA does not close, we are unlikely to have sufficient available cash to repay Foxconn's down payments or the interest. As a result, Foxconn may exercise its rights under the APA, including but not limited to foreclosing on its liens on some or substantially all of the company's assets. Under such circumstances, we would not likely be able to continue as a going concern or realize any value from our assets. Let's explain it, and I'll post that link somewhere. You can take a screenshot of it, whatever, go over it yourself, but let's explain exactly what they just said. And I'll get back to the comments I'm seeing live right now. Foxconn and Lordstown Motors have to go through with this deal, or Lordstown Motors will for sure go under. They'd have to pay back the down payments right here, and they're literally saying under such circumstances, we would not likely be able to do that. We wouldn't be able to go forward as a going concern or realize any value from our assets. They're literally saying realizing no value from the assets, not being able to go continue as a going concern, which means bankruptcy, delisting. That means the company's going bankrupt, and no value from the assets means there's no company left. So what's going on, and why are they saying this? Well, they're saying that if Foxconn doesn't close the deal with them by April 30th of 2022, and it isn't cleared by the CFIUS, Foxconn owns all of their stuff. They get all of their assets, the slogan, the brand, the logo, the truck, the technology, everything. They own all of Lordstown Motors. So what does Foxconn have to do to come out on top? Well, literally nothing. If they don't agree to the agreement, they just don't complete it. They don't close it, which so far they haven't. And in their Q4 earnings, Lordstown Motors was like, hey, we got to move forward with this. And unfortunately, it's taking longer than we would have wanted. Yeah, well, it makes sense because Foxconn will own you. They will literally own all of your assets and you won't be able to pay back their stuff. Literally says, we won't be able to continue as a going concern, which means literal bankruptcy. I don't know how to explain it in a different way. Do you guys understand in the comment section? They're literally saying here, if Foxconn doesn't close the agreement with us, we owe them all the money they gave us, all of our assets, and we won't be able to continue. That's what they just said in there. And you can pick it apart. You can reread it. Everything you want. They posted this today, March 21st of 2022. And that's it. Also, and this I just glossed over, didn't talk about, but they say under this agreement, and now they're being very specific, they would lease up to 30,000 square feet of space located at the Lordstown, Ohio facility from Foxconn for our Ohio-based employees. 30,000 square feet of space? What kind of agreement is this? I thought you were going to have a lot more in terms of square footage that would remain yours, right? But apparently all you're keeping is the machines for the hub motors and the battery modules and packing lines. You're not even keeping more than 30,000 square feet of space, which is tiny for a factory with 6.2 million square feet under roof. They're saying, hey, if Foxconn doesn't agree, they own us, all of our assets, we owe them interest plus the down payments, we can't pay them back if that happens, and we won't be able to continue as a going concern or realize any value from the assets. That's literally what they just said. Check this out now. We're going to talk about the salaries and the bonuses from the insiders, which were also coincidentally posted today. Now understand that the CEO and CFO, Chief Financial Officer and Chief Executive Officers, they obviously understand everything about the company, how hard it is for the company to continue, and are aware of all the financial troubles for the company. So can you please explain to me exactly why Daniel Ninivaggi so clearly said, hey, I will voluntarily reduce my base salary from $750,000 all the way down to a meager $675,000. Oh, and with an annual bonus equal to 125% of my base salary. That means that his $675,000 salary, that's not enough. He wants more. He wants potentially a bonus of 125% of his entire salary. That's nearly $1.5 million purely in salary, because of course in 2021, he received a bonus. An amount prorated for the period in which he actually worked, because he wasn't there the full year, from August 26 all the way to the end of the year. Of course, he got that bonus. Of course, the chair, like the board of directors decides it, and guess who runs the board? Well, additionally to that, he gets 700,000 stock options with an exercise price of $5.5 per share. What does that mean? Well, crap ton of incentives. You have a set exercise price, so it doesn't matter how the stock fluctuates, really. I mean, you still have free money. You're making a crap ton, a massive bonus. And the thing is, like, if you're a CEO of a company that you literally say and have to state is a going concern, which means, hey, we're struggling financially and we don't know if we're going to be able to continue. That's literally what that means. Like, why are you paying yourself so much? And you're willing to voluntarily reduce your own salary just to give yourself 125% more at the end of the year. Like, come on. Fuck off. Adam Kroll, CFO, Chief Financial Officer. Well, hopefully he understands the importance of cash, especially on a balance sheet that is so strapped for Lordstown Motors, where they're literally completely relying on Foxconn. That's literally what they just stated in the previous SEC filing. Well, he gets paid $450,000 with an annual bonus of 80% of his base salary. What does that mean? Well, that's a crap ton of money. And at the end of the year, yep, he got paid for that bonus. He received a bonus for 2021 prorated from October 25th through December 31st. Now, also, he has 200,000 stock options at an exercise price of $4.78 per share, as well as 250,000 RSUs under the 2020 plan, but we don't talk about that. Don't worry about it. It's just a crap ton. More money out of one, the balance sheet, and investors' pockets, called the stock price. Second, Jane Ritson Parsons. She's brand new. That's awesome. Well, first off, she got $100,000 just to signing up. It's a signing bonus, $100,000. Here you go. Please join us. She also has a base salary of $400,000. Now, obviously, other incentives, but we don't talk about that. Now, next up, we're going to talk about Thomas V. Canepa. This guy, he only makes $250,000, right? That was his initial employment agreement, provided for a base salary of 250 grand. Now, he decided the company is doing so incredibly well, right? No problems with the balance sheet whatsoever, definitely not pushing back timelines, not pushing back production, so I want mine increased to $400,000, which they did. Now, he ended up resigning anyways from the offices pursuant to a Second Amendment to his employment agreement, but don't worry, guys. We sent him off very well. He received payment for unused vacation and 6 months of severance to be paid as continuation. That's 125 grand. You left, but we're going to pay you 125 grand anyways, as a continuation of his annual base salary and continued health insurance coverage up to a maximum of $1,500 a month. So this guy, like, don't worry, we're going to give you health insurance for quite some time. We're going to give you an additional $125,000 for leaving us. Oh, and of course, we're going to prove your massive increase in salary. Don't worry about that. Not a problem. That's called being bloated before you've sold a single vehicle. I'm sorry. Angela Strand, remember her? Interim CEO of the company. Well, she joined for a base salary of $100,000 per month. Every single month, she made 100 grand. Now, of course, clearly the CEO that we now have, Daniel Ninivaggi, stepped in very quickly. So we didn't have to pay her 100 grand for many months. Wait, psych. She was actually, it says here, her employment was terminated by the company without cause. She was entitled to any unpaid portion of her salary for the remainder of the term. Her agreement also provided for the grant of 50,000 RSUs, restricted stock units, under the 2020 plan. What does that mean? Well, it means that now she's on the board of directors. She got paid for her full stay, 100 grand a month. I believe it was 6 months, so 600 grand, just like that for signing up for just a few months. She's now on the board making a crazy amount of money. She was gifted a bunch of stock options, shares, 50,000 restricted stock units. Like, come on. Like, come on. What did she actually do? Now, Schwan Devo, you might recognize him from insider selling and buying on the Lordstown Motors NASDAQ listing. What does that mean? Well, it means that this guy was the guy that gave us the wonderful class action lawsuits, right? Do you remember the person that sold and then bought back within that period of time where Lordstown Motors knew that one of their startup vehicles, one of the testing vehicles, actually burned? Well, somebody sold before Lordstown Motors said it publicly, and then he bought back at a lower price. Well, this guy here, he makes a gorgeous base salary of $350,000, and he was granted 200,000 restricted stock units under his 2020 plan. Now, you can see here, there's a lot more going on, and he's... Okay, it doesn't matter at this point. The whole thing is that, like, Burns left, everyone left, they were all given massive severance packages, the insiders are getting paid a crap ton of money, none of them are buying stock, except Daniel Ninivaggi, who bought, like, what, 50K of stock? $50,000? Come on, dude. He makes $675,000 a year, plus a bonus of $125,000, plus 700,000 stock units. Like, I don't even know how to explain it in any other... Okay, let's just read some of the comments. Because, like, do you guys see? They're making so much money, crazy amounts of, like, severance packages. Literally, like, here, Jane Richardson Parsons, salary paid incrementally over a 6-month period and 12 months of continued health insurance coverage. Don't worry, we're going to keep paying your health insurance, of all things. Like, if you're making $100,000 just for signing up, you don't need someone to pay for your health insurance. Like, it's just, I don't even know. Okay, let's just answer, all right, comments. Bruh, LOL. Lies, nice. Check it, shouldn't lie to me. The deal is done, kid. The deal, Dr. John Smith, is not actually done. They've been making the down payments, but keep in mind, if they don't close the deal at the end of the day, they can literally just, like, back out. And they own everything from Lordstown Motors, as well as just getting the money back. That's it. It's that simple. Lordstown would null the contract, keep the money, and sell 1 million shares and still be in business and get the ATVM loan. The ATVM loan requires that they can survive by their own means without the loan, which right now Lordstown Motors is literally saying they can't. Also, Lordstown Motors can't nullify the contract without one having to pay interest as well as having to pay back the down payments they've already made. And they literally said, we are unlikely to have sufficient available cash to repay Foxconn's down payments. Keep in mind, without the down payments, they currently have $250 million. They'd have to pay back over $250 million plus interest, now they'd have no cash. They'd literally be going into debt. Their stock would tank. They wouldn't be able to raise cash. And let's talk about the asset purchase agreement, the share purchase agreement from Yorkville Advisors, because a lot of people see that as the saving grace, a way for them to raise capital by giving shares to Yorkville Advisors. And I know I'm going on and on, but trust me, I know what I'm talking about. They've already given about 9.6 million shares to Yorkville Advisors for a total of $49 million, net of equity issuance costs, which means that basically they've used up a third of that, and they can raise an additional, at the current stock price, about, 20 million shares. Let's just do it because I'm terrible at math. Let's put the calculator here. 20 million shares times the current stock price of $2.80. We'll round up a tiny bit. They can raise an additional $56 million, ladies and gentlemen, from the Yorkville Advisors by diluting you guys an additional 10%, essentially. They have 200,000 shares outstanding, so an additional 20 million shares, that's 10%. Now, this is a big clause right here from Yorkville Advisors that I just found right now. The Yorkville Advisors appears to be an intermediary here. So basically the fund, Yorkville Advisors, aren't buying the shares for themselves. They're an intermediary with designs on selling the shares to other investors. So basically they're scalping between the two, and that's what they're actually doing. The release notes that the fund can sell the shares before even taking possession of them. Let me repeat that. The release notes that the fund, Yorkville Advisors, can sell the shares before taking possession of them. What is it called when you can sell shares of stock that you don't yet own or have bought back? That's called short selling. That is called short selling. So literally, Yorkville Advisors could be short selling the stock and being, basically buying back or covering their position as Lordstown Motors makes them buy shares. So it seems like a bullish thing, but we don't even know if Yorkville Advisors isn't shorting the stock. They can sell the shares before they even get them. And it's really weird that this clause would be introduced in this SEC filing. In my opinion, it's just, wow, And additionally, it says Bloomberg Opinions Matt Levine adds that an investment bank could get very sued if it sold Lordstown Motors shares to investors, and Lordstown then got in troubles with regulators and couldn't continue as a going concern, which they just admitted that they couldn't necessarily continue as a going concern if Foxconn were to back out of the agreement. Dr. John Smith, I made the stock go up 1.3%. Okay. I don't know how to say it. I don't gain anything from Lordstown Motors going up or down. I literally don't gain anything. If I were bullish on this stock and I could totally capitalize on this 33% run, I could have made a video every single day that it was going up, and I would have made probably a decent amount of money. But I'm not long the stock. I'm not short the stock. I have no one that's giving me money to say anything. I have literally nothing to gain from the stock price movement. I'm only saying what I see. And to try to just talk about it again, real quick, they're literally saying if Foxconn backs out, we are unlikely to have sufficient available cash to repay Foxconn's down payments. As a result, under their rights under the APA, they can foreclose all of our lands or substantially all of the company's assets. Under such circumstances, we would not likely be able to continue as a going concern or realize any value from our assets. That means bankruptcy, end of the company, Foxconn owns all of our assets, and now we're in massive debt. That's literally what it says. They would have to dissolve the company so that they don't personally have to try to cover all of the debt. You dissolve the company, the LLC, whatever you have, so you can avoid the debt. That's what declaring bankruptcy is for. Okay, Dr. John Smith, I see it. The CEO of Foxconn said that the 25th of March, the MIH, which is Movement in Harmony, the platform, the global EV platform or whatever, the open source platform for Foxconn, it's going to be part of that March 25th presentation. I get it. But do you see that, they haven't yet closed the transaction? We're getting closer and closer to that April 30th date. And if they simply just don't close the transaction, they own everything from Lordstown Motors. Lordstown Motors is in debt to them, which they could use to, pay down some taxes, basically, as a tax defer. And they own all of their assets. They have nothing to gain from following through this agreement. If they just wait, Lordstown Motors will go bankrupt. They'll own all of their assets regardless, not just the factory that they're trying to get, but also like the technology, the brand, the slogan, everything. So yeah, the Lordstown Motors technology can be awesome, but Foxconn literally is holding the company, Lordstown Motors, by the balls. Like, they are completely in control with what happens. Lordstown Motors put out this saying, hey, we're not going to be able to survive without Foxconn if they back out. Foxconn owns everything about Lordstown Motors. Lordstown Motors is completely powerless and can't continue without Foxconn. There is no winning opportunity here for Lordstown Motors. Foxconn has nothing to gain from helping them out, only by letting them fail and getting all of their assets. It's a trap. It's a business trap, and Foxconn has done it in the past, so it's not too surprising. Let's answer some more comments from the live stream. Yep, and the Lordstown executives, Big Cat is saying, all the executives are going to make out like bandits. Yep, literally. I just went over their salaries, right? What is this? The CEO is making $675,000 a year with an annual bonus target of 125%. Like, you can double your salary. You can just double your salary. More than double. Just because you decide to at the end of the year. That's crazy. And we're talking about 1.5 million with the company on their balance sheet only has 244. And that's in just 1 year. That's absolutely insane. LMC has enough money to slow produce for 2 years. They said in their own Q4 earnings that they're only going to produce up to 3,000 endurance trucks by the end of 2023. Like, that's not enough to do anything. 3K is nothing. That's less than what Tesla was doing when they were initially ramping up the Model 3 per week. They were aiming to do about 5,000 Model 3s per week. So in 2 years, Lordstown Motors can make 3,000 vehicles. Okay, Dr. John Smith said, LinkedIn employee, probably from Lordstown Motors, told me that the deal is done. And I would love to believe that. I believe he texted you that or whatever. But keep in mind, this SEC filing was filed today. This is the filing date. And hey, I could be entirely wrong, right? Obviously, I want to do a disclaimer. I could be entirely, completely, utterly stupid and wrong. Hopefully, Lordstown Motors comes out. I've been rooting for them since the beginning. I want the employees to do well, not just the executives and the insiders. I want the employees in the region to do well. When GM shut down that factory, it screwed the region. And Trump came in and he's like, hey guys, don't leave. Don't sell your houses and go somewhere else. We're going to create jobs. And this was one of the ways of creating those jobs. It was the Lordstown Motors factory promising to build tens of thousands of vehicles in their first full year. And now obviously we've got 3,000 in the first 2 years. Okay. I don't even know what to say. Will asks, any good news? The good news is honestly the stock is up 33% in the past 5 days, which is honestly good news because if they sell more shares, that means that they can get it at a higher price. But even then, with all the shares they have currently at the stock price, that's only 56 at most, diluting shareholders an additional 10%. So you're losing 10% of value for the company getting half a quarter's worth of cash burn. And Big Cat says, I own some Lordstown, and I hope you're wrong. I hope I'm wrong too. Honestly, I know a lot of people don't believe me, but I truly don't gain anything from the stock going down. Some people think I'm shorting. I'm genuinely, honestly not. Moln Motors has 40 million on hand Friday and went up 50%. Oh, is that what Moln stock is? I've been seeing it kind of trending, if you will. 10%. Mullen Automotive, but the stock is MULN. Yeah, it's up 94% in the past 5 days. Market cap of 112. Damn. Oh, but the CEO did sell some shares apparently. Maybe there's a reason. It's well, yeah, it's been trending. I don't know enough about them, but just looking right here at the quarterly financials, seeing that the net income dropped quite considerably, the net EPS, perhaps. I don't know enough about the company to talk about it. It's just, let's face the facts here. If Lordstown Motors is up 33% in the past 5 days, that means that your shares are up a third from where they were last week. Could they go back down even lower? I personally think they will. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But do you want, like, just ask yourself this one question. Do you think the company can go bankrupt, dissolve the company? And if so, are you willing to lose the amount of money that you currently have in them? If the answer is yes, then I don't have anything to talk about. You know, that's it. That's it for me. I don't know. I don't really have much else to say. Here, you can take a look at my Robinhood account. This is just like a bullcrap for fun account. You know, it's not a big deal. It's only $4,000. Not a big deal. But I have Facebook, Tesla, Google, and a bit of iRobot just for fun. These three companies, Facebook, Tesla, and Google, and keep in mind this is just a side account of mine, I really think those companies will do very well in the coming decade. Now, Tesla, I'm the most bullish on that one, and I think that it can 10x your money in the next decade. I know it sounds crazy and everything, but I just think that if you don't look at it as a loss, but instead you see like you are transferring stock from Lordstown Motors into a different stock, then it can kind of ease the transition. Also that it's up 33%. It can ease the transition into a different company, you know, and then perhaps that company and their stock can actually make back that money that you lost. Let's see, who is idea they will go to bankruptcy, says Tom Injure. I talked about it briefly, but I would say just scroll back in the video where I was talking about the APA, the Foxconn agreement, literally saying that under such circumstances, if Foxconn backs out, they will not likely be able to continue as a going concern or realize any value from their agreement or from their assets. No value from their assets. That's literally what they're saying. And assets means everything. Technology, the endurance, the slogan, the logo, everything. Let's see. Why not pump the stock and help Lordstown? Why? Because you're a Tesla fan. Tesla's 1 trillion market cap, says Dr. John Smith. I used to be bullish on the company. However, unfortunately, now I am not. You know, and it's honestly just kind of that simple. Like, I can't recommend a stock try to help out Lordstown Motors just because it would help them out. It's like, I think a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. And why should I pump a stock when the insiders are paying themselves ridiculous salaries, ridiculous stock-based compensation? No one is buying. Like, they're making so much money and none of them are buying the stock. Like, it's a joke, you know, and I can't take that like to myself and try to help out the company when clearly they aren't. Let's see. Any other questions? All right, well, I'm going to make this like live stream into official videos just to try to make it more easy and digestible. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss those videos, those more in-depth looks, because I want to make this as clear as possible to everyone that's investing in this company. I know that it's not something that anyone wants to hear, and I'm sorry, frankly, but that's kind of just the video that got made. Thank you very much for watching. Again, please subscribe for future videos. If not, that's totally fine. Have a nice day.